Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and I just got done cutting down a walnut tree in town. And I usually don't do residential felling, but in this case I decided to go ahead and do it. And I stood there and looked at this leaning tree for 5 minutes, and I debated between two different cutting strategies, actually three. And now that the tree's down, I can see I clearly went about it the wrong way. And it's a learning experience. But I'll talk about that more after you see the tree come down. So this right here is the tree behind me. I'm guessing it is maybe 16 inches down at the base. And out in the field, this would be really easy. It's got a bunch of lean that way. I would just take it that way. But if I do that, it's gonna hit this tree. So I need to try to steer it over this way. I don't want the tree hung up here in the yard. So I need to push it that way. Let's take a look up top. See, all the lean is that way. The tree wants to go that way. So I think the method I'm going to use is to leave a thick hinge on this side and cut the hinge really thin on the other side and let that hinge wood pull it. So to set it up that way, I'm going to make a face cut, then a plunge cut, set my hinge the way I want it. I'll probably go ahead and put some wedges on that side before cutting the trigger. My big decision I was trying to make is, should we go ahead and use the tractor to push on it a little bit or let the wedges do it? Probably the tractor is the smart way, but I've never done that before. And anytime you do something for the first time and there's obstacles around, it makes it feel a little bit iffy. There's always a learning curve. Anyway, I do know what I want my first cuts to be, so let's go get that done. That's really a bad deal. I have never done that, but I cut through my hinge on that side. I wanted to have a 1-inch hinge over there and about a 2 or 3 inch hinge over here, but I cut all the way through it there. So I'm going to set a trigger, fairly thick trigger, then we're going to put a little bit of pressure on the tree on that side with the tractor and just put a little bit of pressure on it in this direction whenever I cut the trigger. Good. So everything I tried to do there didn't work. The good thing is this is a small tree and it really had enough room to fall without getting hung up too bad. So I got kind of lucky. It was a learning experience. Now we're going to get this thing bucked up. After I took the first 2 logs home, I remembered he wanted this little tree gone too. And I was thinking, well, that thing's just a little thing. It's a nuisance. It'll be an easy fall. I wasn't even thinking about this tree, but I just scanned it with the picture of this app. It says it's an eastern red cedar, and it's a straight trunk. This actually might be the nicer of all the logs I get. This might be the one that's good. So I'm gonna knock this down real quick, go ahead and get it home, and then I want to have more of a conversation about what went wrong with that tree and the ways I could have done that better. Wow, that smells so good. Okay, so let's think about this tree. I want it to come straight towards the camera. It has the lean, it wants to go this way. Now, there are a couple different options for how I think I could have done that. If it was a bigger tree, I definitely would have been able to put wedges in it. With the diameter of this tree, I'm not sure if I really could have done much with wedges. So the options to make it fall that way is to get tied off and pull it. But it was up a steep hill where I was at, and I didn't have the setup or anything to pull it. You got the option to push it, and you've got the option to try to make the holding wood pull it that way by leaving a thick wedge on one side and a thin wedge on the other. That was my original plan, and I was going to leave that thick hinge, and I didn't place my bore cut right. So I'm kind of thinking right now, if I was going back to the same spot to cut the same tree, I would make my face cut the same way, and then I'd just run that in fast, but add a little bit of an angle so that I'm leaving one side of the hinge thicker than the other. The only risk of that is a barber chair, but I think it's one of those where you just race the saw in. So let me know in the comments, how would you have cut that tree if you needed it to go the other way? Anyway, I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.